right, welcome back to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Here today with James Fraser. Welcome, man.
Yes, pleasure to be on here, man.
Yeah.
Big fan of the show. I'm an avid listener, so.
All the way from British Columbia, Canada.
That's right.
Love
That's
it.
right. Shout out to BC, Vancouver, Penticton, Okanagan Valley. What's up?
Cool. So James is the first Canadian to hit a pest control golden door in Canada.
Correct. Yep.
That's awesome. And just doing big things up there. Tell me the company name one more time.
Aveda Pest Control.
With Aveda Pest Control there in BC.
Correct. Yes.
Awesome, man. So with that as kind of the intro, let's go back to the beginning. Tell us a little bit about growing up and family life, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in small little town, Penticton. Grew up, always was entrepreneurial, loved business.
Yeah.
I was the kid selling Coca-Cola cans out of his locker, right?
Yeah.
I was always thinking of, little business ideas. My parents, they separated at an early age,
Okay.
which was, a big chip on my shoulder right away.
Okay.
And I grew up just always playing soccer. So I was a big soccer player, and I was just a kid from sundown to sunup at the soccer field. I, lived, eat, breathed soccer.
Yeah.
And all of that kind of shaped, who I am today. And yeah, man, I played overseas in Holland for a year, played for the U19s for a club called Excelsior. So I was really gung-ho at soccer, obviously.
When was that? What age?
So I was 18.
Nice.
So I just played soccer all through high school.
Yeah. So that's like the first thing that happens after high school.
After high school, straight out of high school, straight to Holland. But along the way, still always flipping things, buying things. Everyone kind of knew me for that personality.
Yeah.
I came back, played college soccer,
Okay.
and that's where I met my teammate, who's now my business partner.
Oh, nice. Where'd you
Jason
guys go?
Stager. I went to SFU to start.
Dude, I literally asked where you went to college because I wondered if you went there because I played them in football.
Div 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I only went there for a year.
Okay.
So I kind of did 1 year there, and then I transferred to U Sports,
Okay.
TRU.
Yeah.
But that's funny.
It's fun random fact. Once upon a time, Dixie State was in a football division with Simon Fraser?
That's right.
Simon Fraser University in Canada.
Yep.
We drove 30 hours on a bus up there, lost in triple overtime, and then drove 30 hours back.
Oh, on Terry Fox Field.
Yeah.
A cold, rainy night or what?
It was cold. It was definitely
Yeah.
cold.
I remember at SFU, the funny thing I remember was walking through the dining hall, and I just remember the football players, just absolute giants walking around me. So
Big boy.
Big boys,
Yeah.
eating all the food.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so
year there, year at another place?
Year there, transferred to TRU, which was kind of a smaller team, but found my groove there, played 5 years, so just a big soccer player, you
Nice.
know. But yeah, along the way, met a teammate who's now my business partner, one of my best friends, Jason Stager, and he mentioned he was going to go do a summer of door-to-door sales, said you can make $500 a pop. Obviously, with my personality that I just explained, I thought that was awesome, right? 100% commission-based.
Yeah.
I was busy with soccer that summer, so I said, hey, go try it out for me. Let me know how it goes. He came back, made good money, said it was awesome. So I got my start in door-to-door sales in 2019 with a company, Vivint, which we all know of.
Vivint, yeah. So you begin in alarms.
Correct, yes.
Or, smart home.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in, it sounds like in your case it was just a friend thing, but, here in Utah, the door-to-door recruiting scene is active. There are many options. It's not a matter of, like, if you've ever heard of this, it's a matter of why you chose that company versus this. You know what I mean?
Right, I could imagine.
Yeah. So, what's door-to-door recruiting like in Canada? I mean, do you get approached by other people like hardly ever? Or?
I mean, no, not really. It's all, I would say Canada is ripe, right?
Yeah.
It is starting to, form. like our company, we recruit heavy out of a particular university. You know, you could argue that it's started to get saturated, but for the most part, you know, there's definitely not recruiting battles going on with rookies, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Like that just doesn't happen in Canada. So when I heard of door to door, that's the first time I've ever heard of it. And I think that's probably the case for most people up in Canada when they do get recruited.
Yeah. Because they're definitely different pitches, you know. It's you pitch somebody on why door to door, why commission only, all these kind of fundamental questions versus you pitch them on why your company or whatever it may be. If they're a vet or if they've done this before. So
yeah, far less competition up in Canada in terms of recruiting, I would say, for sure.
oh, that's fun. So yeah, tell us about that first summer of alarms.
Yeah, so it was great. You know, it was nothing for me. I was still going to soccer practice. Like I was still, you know, knee deep in soccer. So I did a half summer. You know, I would have to go to soccer practice twice a week, game on weekends. Finished the summer 30 alarms, so nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I fell in love with it.
Got your feet wet.
I got my feet wet.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. The guys I had around me, my manager, were awesome, studs. Saw what they were doing. So even though I didn't have a crazy summer, I was into it.
Yeah. So what's like the mentality? I was asking people as you get home from that summer, is it like definitely doing this next year? I should recruit some friends. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, like if I'm being honest, I was all into it, but I also was all into soccer.
Still,
I was trying to go professional.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that was kind of always the path, and that always took, you know, my number one priority. So although I love door to door, I also was, all right, well, hey, my boyhood dream I'm still trying to fulfill, going all in on soccer. And yeah, that didn't really change up until, you know, my later years of college.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I still play tackle football. I'm going to be 33 in 2 months. So
dang, man, good for you.
Yeah.
Love it.
I relate.
Lacing them up.
I relate.
Yep.
And you know, as you go out second year, third year, I assume you're just kind of getting better and better.
So this is kind of where my whole career takes a turn after that first year. COVID hits, right? So Vivint up in Canada, which at the time was fairly big. There was about 17 offices coast to coast.
Okay.
You know, guys were selling lots of accounts. It was a really healthy program up there. It folds. It shuts down.
Wow.
So Vivint consolidates out of Canada. They sell off all their accounts. And
is that still this way? Are they still not there?
Yeah, they're still not there. I think now TELUS now bought them out. So yeah, there's no knocking up in Canada for Vivint anymore.
Wow.
There's a big team actually up in Canada that work down in the States. But anyways, that happened. And obviously we all know what happened with COVID.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, my mom got sick. And I'm a big mama's boy.
Yeah.
So, you know, the whole economy shut down in Canada. And obviously there was door-to-door still happening. I decided just to step out of the game for a little bit and help take care of my mom as she went through her final battle with cancer, which was unbelievable for me, right? A lot of people, you know, suffered from COVID. For me, it was a major blessing because for 3 months, I just got to fully drop everything, focus on her, take care of her. And that was a really, really special time. She ended up passing through euthanasia in May of 2020. She literally passed away in my arms. Super powerful. And I took that whole summer off. Just decided, hey, I just want some time. And took that whole summer off. Saw what was happening though with door to door. So essentially what was happening door to door wise was the Vivint operation, the top guys then transitioned to another company called TELUS.
Okay.
And then in 2021, the next summer, I decided, all right, let me get back into the game. But this time I was coming back as a man. Right?
Yeah.
You know, when you have when you grew up with your mom and she passes, you turn into a man. So I wasn't kind of looking at it like a boy anymore. I came into it like, hey, if I'm going to do this, I'm gonna go all into this. Right. So after that, I came into the 2021 summer just fully locked in. And I kind of took all that discipline I had in soccer and just applied it to door to door. Still had to do a half summer because of soccer, just because a preseason starts in August. But had an amazing summer, and that really, changed everything for me. I sold like 200 alarms in a couple months.
As compared to 30.
Exactly.
And half summers both times, so pretty
Yeah.
comparable time periods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, everyone kind of knew I had it in me, but there definitely was, okay, like you blew up your second year, and you see that often, in summer sales, right? So that was a big changing point for me. And you know how it goes as an athlete. Once you have a summer like that, then you start to see the real future of this. You start to think, okay, well, I could be a professional soccer player, but hey, this is also like a great plan B, right?
Yeah.
But what that did is, when I threw down that second summer, is it just opened up opportunities for me. And sorry, I know I'm going far down the rabbit hole, but what happened then was that the guys in Vivint decided, hey, let's get back in the game, right? So shout out Lane Heggie and Brock Wahlberger. They were the ones in charge of the whole Vivint operation in Canada, right? Those 17 offices. So they had a big exit with Vivint. They decided, hey, we missed the rat race. What are we going to start? Are we going to go back into alarms? Are we going to start something else? They decided pest control was the best option. They saw what was going on in the States.
Yeah.
Saw there was a lot of opportunity in Canada. So that's when they started Aveda Pest Control in 2022. And they approached my partner, Jason, who then approached me, said, hey, do you want to go with this opportunity? They're going to start this company. Do you want to be a part of this?
It's kind of funny to speak about pest control as something that's like wide open and underserved market, just because in the States it's it's still a great business. The reps make a ton of money. The companies sell for a huge it's still a great business. I'm not saying anything negative, but
right.
I don't know. It's just funny.
I bet. Yeah. A lot of people are kind of like fascinated when I tell them I'm up in Canada. They're like, how does it all work?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
How do you sell pest control in Canada, right?
Yeah. I mean, shoot, let's talk about that first. Like, what kinds of bugs are you selling on?
Yeah. So there's like a common misconception, like it's,
I mean, I suppose you're right close to Washington. So
it's all, yeah, exactly.
They're selling in Seattle. They're selling in DC.
Portland, right?
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, right?
Yeah.
So there's tons of bugs out there, ants, spiders, wasps during the summer. And then in the winter, there's mice, rats, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a market. I would say it's not like I've been to Texas where there's grasshoppers jumping all over
cockroaches.
Yeah. It's not like that where it's a necessity, but I think most northern states, it's maybe a luxury, like if you're wealthy and you got a couple bugs, you'll buy. But that's kind of what you're looking for, at least.
Have you ever you've talked to like a United States based rep about this? I wonder if you guys sell like a different proportion of new accounts versus switchovers.
That's an interesting conversation. They're definitely like, me being the first golden door, like, you don't really know, right?
Yeah.
I will say, I definitely probably sold the most switchovers out of anybody in Canada.
Oh, interesting.
So I think I'm tapping into that.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's got to be way more switchovers down in the States,
In the States, if you can't sell switchovers, you can't sell pests.
I am usually amazed when I hear, some other guys say, 80% of my accounts are switchovers.
Yeah.
That's just not possible right now in Canada.
Yeah.
You do definitely have to sell a lot more newer accounts, to your point. But as, the market emerges, definitely switchovers are a major piece of a business for any top performer. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. So back into it. So you and some of these senior guys from the Vivint operation previously, you're launching Aveda.
Correct.
Yep.
So 2022, we launch Aveda. We come in hot shot alarm salesman, right?
Yeah.
Hot shot alarm salesman. Oh, dude, like the ratio's 3 to 1. So if I sold 200 alarms, all right, half summer, 1,000 accounts.
Yeah.
I remember like
Just assuming it. Yeah.
I remember writing 1,000 accounts in my like notebook. Like, it's going to be an easy sale, super easy, right? It's going to be awesome. We're going to, strike it rich. This is great. It's going to be exactly like it is in the States. And dude, got smacked in the face, just absolutely smacked in the face our first year starting that business. Just to kind of give context, my first month selling pest control as a manager. So I recruit this big team, 30 guys, right? Telling them, oh, it's going to be easy, rookie manager mistake. Don't tell them it's going to be easy. Yeah. Service $16,000 my first month selling pest control.
Nice.
Which is less than an account a day.
Yeah.
So just to kind of give you context of how tough it was, I remember being on the phone with my fiance being like, I'm living a nightmare right now.
Yeah. And I'm sure your rookies especially, I'm sure it's just chaos.
It's chaos. It's brutal. My partner, Jason, so he kind of like gave me the opportunity and said, because he still was running his operation with TELUS, right? And he still is to this day. So he's like, hey, you run this. I'll be kind of the regional of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm calling him and he's like, dude, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Just hang in there.
Dig out.
It was pretty crazy, but it wasn't. It was the company wide. So we had different regions, and everyone was struggling, and it was pretty brutal.
You guys are learning on the fly.
We're learning on the fly, but we're kind of pitching, pest control like alarms, right?
Yes.
So we're going to this major presentation, right? So like, going into detail where, now I know the game. Customers don't care, right?
Yeah, it's like 5 seconds and you close.
Yeah, if they got issues, we'll solve the issues. You don't got issues, don't go into a major presentation of all the value of the spray and what we do and all that, right? So anyways, it's a kind of a funny story. We struggled our first 2 months. We're all questioning, because it's, we're one of the first companies up in Canada, so we're all questioning whether we can sell it up in Canada.
Oh yeah.
It's the easy thing to do is blame the market when you're struggling, right? So
especially with no validation that somebody did it already.
Exactly. So we're going through that in our head, and we're skilled alarm salesmen, right? So we're thinking, okay, it can't be sold in this type of market. So kind of a legendary story. So shout out to Lenny Gray. Our president, Brock Wahlberger, hops on the phone with Lenny Gray, says, hey, we're about to go underwater here. We got to fix things. What would it cost for you to come up here and sell with us and show our guys how it's done? And Lenny kind of gave his consulting fee, and he goes, no, I need you to knock the doors. I need you to show these guys.
Yeah, you need to get trenchy.
And I go, okay, well, let me talk to my wife. He goes, okay. I think the number was $30,000. And Brock says, done. Right?
Yeah.
Lenny Gray,
I'll do anything, bro. Just come.
Yeah. So Lenny Gray flies up to Canada, untapped market. Everyone's struggling. All eyes on him. I personally, like, to this day, loves telling this story, because I just imagine the pressure as a consultant.
Yeah.
You got to go knock doors, untapped. Everyone's struggling in there. You don't really know what you're up against. He flies into Calgary, sells 10, flies to Vancouver the next day, sells 8, flies home. Job well done. But that really showed us, okay, this is possible. Like, now that excuse is gone.
Yeah.
He did quick little trainings, and we just, took a bunch of recordings, and it was like, hey, dude, just keep it simple. And after that, things picked up. So I went from selling 16,000 the first month. I finished the summer with 189,000 of service revenue, which is great improvement, right?
Yeah.
From that to there. And after that, it was just heads down, blinders on, let's build this thing, right? So didn't have much of an off season, just got right into recruiting, right into training, and then after that, 2023. Came back, built up a nice healthy team. Second summer, did half of a golden door, 325,000.
Were you able to retain a lot of the first summer rookies?
No.
I was gonna say it's like really tough first month, but then better trajectory at least. Maybe you can sell that. But
my first year managing, I'm happy with how I finished as a manager. Yeah. Because I took, accountability, looked at myself in the mirror, said, hey, stop making excuses. Like, put your head down, show up to your guys every single day, get to work.
Yeah.
But, and I don't blame them, right? A lot of them were like,
But you had to restart.
How to restart, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And maybe that's like a good lesson for like rookie managers is like that first year managing. Like if you guys like recruiting is a process. You got to keep putting your head down every single year. You know, you lose guys. It really does compound, and I think a lot of guys will maybe have an experience like that where they lose a lot of guys and just stop and say, "It's not for me." Right?
I'm just gonna focus on being just a really top level rep.
Yeah,
I hate that.
so do I.
Yeah,
And also, like, I'm a big fan. Like, I'm huge on leading from the front, right? I know, not to sound trite, but I almost like obsess over it. And I think a huge mistake that reps make is just what you said. I'm just going to focus on sales. What they don't know is if you focus on recruiting, build a team, put all that responsibility on your back, you're going to sell way more.
yeah. Well, and they should go hand in hand, right? Like even some of my guys who are good recruiters, they'll recruit, they'll have a team, they'll say they want to lead from the front, but then their leading from the front is in this weird, like kind of like self-focused way. I'm like, do lead from the front. I'm not telling you to not sell the deal, but have somebody watch you do it. Bring a guy, like, or hit doors across the street from him. Like, do make that leading from the front also a training in and of itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, yeah, definitely shadows are super important.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to do it for the right reasons. You don't want to say I lead from the front and then just be self-centered about it and just try to hit your numbers. Right?
Yeah, you go do 80% of your office revenue while your noobs just get wrecked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You got to lead from the front, like genuinely, right? Like, hey, I'm doing this. You know, like I'm trying to hit my level, right? My ceiling, right? So to make room for you guys, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So. I'm big on that though. Like I watch like Alexander the Great. I watch Napoleon. Like I do look at like door-to-door sales almost like war. Like you recruit your army and then you go out to war, right?
You're like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You probably get neck deep in some freaking corny YouTube
videos.
Yeah.
I'm watching like the 3D like battles of whatever off in Greece getting fired up. You know what I mean?
Don't laugh at us, anybody listening.
Yeah. Don't check my YouTube history. It's corny for sure.
No, I'm with it 100%.
Yep. But yeah, so 2022, head down, blinders on, you know, recruit another team that I'm a lot more comfortable with. You know, and the also thing to note about recruiting is like you do retain those one or two guys, and then that just does double to triple your business. Like don't sleep on those one or two guys that do stay. You know, that's how recruiting works, right? You recruit a team, you know, 2 to 3 stay, then 3 guys go out and recruit a team.
Let's expound on that too.
Sure.
Because the answer is probably all of these, but does it add that much because they recruit, or because maybe you also say because having 1 or 2 more experienced guys on the team like helps morale that summer when the rookies are panicking?
Yeah, both.
Yeah,
100% both.
Yeah,
right. Just like you know, you get access to all of their contacts.
Yeah.
So it triples the amount of inputs you can put in for recruiting. But yeah, definitely, it's just like a sports team, right? If you have all rookies and 1 vet, you know, the team's gonna not do so well.
Dude, you've probably been through this too. It's like you're going out. You still have your swagger and your confidence, but you go out and you give a speech to a room of nothing but panicking people. Or you go out and you're doing that, and then one person is like, "Yeah, everybody, James is right. We got this." And you're like, "Oh, totally. Bless you."
Dude,
thank you so much for saying that.
That secondhand leadership is so important. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's massive. So the second year, we have a great year. Second year was awesome. So I hit half a golden Thor, 325,000. But then you really just see, you know, your reps have a good experience, right? And then after that, and I will say, you know, what that did for my self-belief, like. When I hit 189K, the Golden Door wasn't on the radar.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the radar.
Right.
You know, so lesson in that is like set realistic goals, set proper goals. I think it's a plague in our industry is guys will just set delusional goals.
Yeah.
They hit 100K revenue. You probably see it in roofing. You know, you have a rookie that, you know, had a average first year summer, and then the next year, I want to hit a golden door.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's tough as a manager to be like, dude, like, let's bring it down. But
You know what I always tell them is I always say, I want your goal to still be relevant half or 3/4 of the way through the goal period.
right.
If your goal is golden door and halfway through the period you're 1/10 to a golden door,
Right.
then we just can't talk about goals. It's like a sore subject.
Exactly. Exactly. Right.
You know?
So you got to be that manager to kind of, you know, pipe it down if you need to. But yeah, it was the same with soccer, right? I'm not going into the season saying I'm going to score 25 goals and set the all-time record, right?
Yeah.
I find something that I'm comfortable with. Okay, I scored 8 last year. I'm going for 12 this year, and that's something I know I can push myself to do, or whatever the case may be, right? So second year, that was the goal. You know, half of a golden door, got that done, and then after that, that gave me the self-belief, the true self-belief, right? You got to earn your self-belief. I really believe in.
Yep.
To say, okay, you know, I can do this. I can go for the golden door the next year, and then yeah, that the golden door journey started soon after my second year selling pest control.
Nice. Talk about the journey. I mean, it sounds like it was like a pretty present goal in your brain or something.
It was massive, right? Because at the time, no one had ever sold a pest control golden door in Canada. It was almost like an armed race. You know, we have a couple competitors up in Canada, so it was like, who's going to do it? You know what I mean?
It's like the 4-minute mile type thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I kind of got it was in the back of my brain, but it was my team behind me that like they all said like, dude, you got to do it. And this kind of like slow pressure started to build. You know what I mean? You know, I will say this, if you want to hit a golden door and like, you know, you do this with your, like you guys hit 20 golden doors.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Thanks.
You need to have a company culture for doing it, right?
Yeah.
You got to provide for your guys, right? So like our owners were behind it. The technicians were behind it. The CSR was behind it. It was like a full team effort. My fiance was behind it. Like you got to really kind of ask for permission from everybody to help you succeed, you know, on that goal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the preseason was about, was just like getting permission from everybody, like having that real conversation with your spouse.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to go for this. I need you with me. Like, are you okay with me doing this? Right.
Yeah.
And lucky she was awesome, supported me the whole way. Same thing with the owners, right? And the whole team. And then it was just about preparing. So obviously recruiting, like sometimes like just teaching reps is the best training. You know, reading books and just kind of getting mentally prepared, mapping it out. Like I spent a ton of time mapping it out. How many knocking days do I have? How many do I need to sell per day?
Yeah.
Like account for cancellations, account for, you know, weddings that I have to go to, little days off, or, you know, if our team had to move markets, okay, that day we're going to be moving, so I'm going to take that day off. So really just mapping it out exactly. And what that does is just really now builds that self-belief. A lot of people say, I want to hit a golden door. Okay, well, how many knocking days do you have? I don't know. Okay, you know, how many do you need to sell per day? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just really mapping it out on a day-to-day level gave me a ton of confidence to actually go out there day one, you know, start rolling the ball down the line.
Yeah, I love the map out, especially. One of the things I always tell my people is I say, hey, the only goal that you actually just kind of pull out of thin air is the longest one. Okay, so like golden door, you a little bit pulled out of thin air. Okay, but if your big goal is to hit a golden door, well, that's X amount of revenue. So you have to do 4 months? You're doing 4 months, 5 months?
No, you got all year. My golden door was long.
Okay.
I took 200 days.
Okay, well, 200
Almost.
days. So yeah, so whatever the number is divided by 200, that's your day goal.
Yeah.
You're not pulling your day goal out of thin air. That one is already known based off of your long goal.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's
Absolutely.
funny. Like if you had a goal to hit a golden door and then your daily goal was 1/400th of a golden door,
Right.
that doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you know, I mapped it all out. The whole team was behind it. Everyone was behind it. And then I started my golden door journey in March, and I finished in November.
Fire. I
So
love it.
it wasn't pretty. It was ugly.
You were getting snowed on by the end, huh?
Rained on.
Rained on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the West Coast, so it was heavy rain.
Yeah.
I had those days where the phone would turn off. I'd put it in rice,
Yeah.
get back out there. Like, it was ugly, but it got done. It got done. So it was a full team effort, but it was just chopping wood, fetching water, brick by brick. You know, my number was 5 sales a day. So 5 sales every single day, 200 days. Now we're here.
Huge, dude.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
I love those metaphors. Chopping wood, carrying water. Is that what you said?
Yep. Just the mundane. Just got to get used to the mundane. You know? And it felt weird after. Like, after I hit it, I was just so used to just waking up, getting out there, selling my 5.
This is what I do.
It's what I do.
Yeah.
So it was pretty. I felt weird. I felt almost like gross when I took that first day off. I was like, oh, this is weird. You know what I mean? But yep, that's what it is. It's just success is when you find joy in the mundane. That's what true success is, right?
I'll tell you one of my favorite metaphors. My partner in the window biz, Kyle, he says this all the time. He talks about I don't know what he watched, but he watched some bodybuilding thing. Mm-hmm. And the bodybuilder was basically saying, he's like, how many lifts are there in the gym? Like, I mean, maybe you'd be crazy and you subdivide them a bunch of different ways. You say there's 100. Even still, bro, if I'm in there for hours, and he was basically saying bodybuilding is an exercise and who can keep doing it over and over and over again and not be bored.
Yep. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing is, once you start doing it for a while, all of a sudden you're not bored. Yeah, you start to actually find joy in it, right?
Yeah.
And there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes a little bit, but that's why I tell my reps, like, yeah, you gotta like, the first couple of days of you working all day long for 10 hours is gonna suck.
Right.
Second day, it's gonna suck. Third day, it's not gonna be so bad. And you just find that momentum until, it's just what you do.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any kind of, as we kind of wrap up, any kind of parting advice to, I don't know, whoever you want to speak to, maybe somebody doing something new, in their area or in their friends or whatever it may be, people breaking through barriers like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say you're closer than you think. Okay. When I did my first year selling pest control, again, it wasn't on the radar, and I would idolize these Golden Door winners. Mm-hmm. And I would think, it is literally impossible. Like, that is insane what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
But what I didn't realize was, when you just take that first step, and you just improve incrementally, right? Where, I went from 189K to 325K. Mm-hmm. Once I hit that 325, all of a sudden now it's possible, like, within me. Like, I'm like, oh, it's possible. It's right there, mm-hmm. right? So if you're looking at these Golden Door winners and idolizing them and thinking it's way far out of your reach and it's not you, just understand, like, take that incremental first step, set proper goals. And what you'll realize is, once you hit that proper goal, the next step is entirely possible, right? And it's funny, after you hit a Golden Door, you realize how much left you actually have in the tank.
Yeah.
And then that's how you can see the next step, right? Mm-hmm. So I would just say, if you think it's impossible, just take that first incremental step, set proper goals, understand that, you're closer than what you may think you are.
Sweet. Mm-hmm. If our listeners want to catch up with you, where can they find you? Yeah,
just follow me on Instagram, J_Blades11. And I also run my own podcast, The Northern Knock. So it's a podcast just bringing the best of the best when it comes to Canadian door knockers, giving them a shout out, giving them a spotlight.
It's awesome.
A lot of room to grow in Canada. So I'm excited to see what the next decade looks like.
Fire. Thanks, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks, Levi. Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of D2D Success Stories. Check back next week. We drop every week on Tuesday.